and welcome to Down the Alley. This is PMAC.
And Ted T.S. Spirides.
And Katie.
Happy Tuesday. Happy playoff week. Happy section, semifinals, finals. We got scores rolling in. Katie, thanks for plugging this last Thursday that we need a Tuesday episode. You hit that one on the head, and you're 100% right. There's so much to talk about. So fire me up. I'm excited to dive into this. But first, before we get on the field chat, let's give, we all had weekends. Anything interesting off the field, Katie, for you this last weekend?
My voice is actually starting to come back. I kind of haven't really had a voice because we were at Viking Goat at Farmington High School. Typically it's been at the middle school, and this year we were all at the high school. It was hotter than heck, like it always is. And we did pretty good. My 10U's battled. They had a case of the meltdowns on Saturday afternoon, I think. We were crying. We were telling each other mean things, like you're bad at lacrosse. They would I guess someone just walked up to someone else and said that, and that's something we say as a 10-year-old because we don't really have a filter. But then Sunday morning they battled and we played in the championship game and lost to Stillwater because Prior Lake 10U's cannot beat Stillwater 10U's. We cannot beat them. 3 years I've been doing 10U's and I don't think we've ever beat Stillwater at the 10U age levels. So whether it's tournament, whether it's regular season, so Stillwater 10U's, we're coming for you. I think we only see them. Our game schedule came out and I didn't look at it yet, but I think we would only see them in state. I don't think they come to the PLAY tournament. So I am a little raspy still. So now that I'm talking more, so bear with me.
We'll bear with you. Ted, I know you've already made it through your finals, so you've been on the field quite a bit. I know you've been on the field with your daughter as well. That's at the 10U level? Is that like U6, U8?
U8, 8U.
U8?
Yeah, this weekend was a busy weekend. We had section semis on Saturday night. So it was weird having a 7:30 game on a Saturday night. Like usually, if you play Saturday, it might be like a 3 o'clock or a 5 o'clock, but generally it's not a night game. So that it was a great game, and it just was weird. Like I got home and I'm like, what day is it? I don't even know. Like everything was thrown off, and then had to be up in Orono on Sunday morning for a U8 jamboree. Sunday morning, 8:30 start. So early rise on Sunday morning. But that was fun. I think for some of the girls on the team, it was their first time doing like a tournament or a jamboree. We've had one scrimmage, but it seemed like they're having fun. There were some teams there that were like running, transition and like motion offense with like 8-year-olds. So got to get the playbook from specifically Forest Lake 8U. So the 2034 or in 2033 Forest Lake squad girls, look out for them because I don't know what they're doing up there, but they're doing the right things. Got to play against Prior Lake, and Heather Pearson was on the other sideline. So I was reffing that game, which was a huge mistake for just the whole tournament to let me officiate a girls game where I'm still kind of learning some of the rules.
Well, 10U and 8U have completely different rules than like girls in general.
Yeah, but that was fun. They're a good squad, and then we played Mounds View Irondale, which they also had a good team. So it was fun to do that. It was really enjoyable as someone whose life is lacrosse to see your kid playing lacrosse. And then then it's right back into prepping for section finals. So it was a busy weekend.
The thing about reffing that age group is you don't even need to know the rules because they'll tell you the rules.
Yeah.
They love a crease call.
Yep.
Is because it's live or die.
Yep.
Stepping into the crease.
And definitely did not like if I didn't blow the whistle if they didn't try to make a pass. Like,
yeah.
you gotta pass first before you shoot. I'm like, well,
Yes.
okay. Like,
You do.
you're right.
Oh,
I
we
just-
live and die by the
there
rules.
was a lot of me saying, you're absolutely right. Don't worry about it. Like, just play. Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
count. Yeah, it doesn't count. And they're like,
Yeah.
what? It doesn't count. I'm like, no, if it counts for you, it doesn't count for them.
Yeah.
Just pick up the
Yeah.
ball. These games
Yeah.
are like 20 minutes long. Like, let's
Yeah.
not argue about it.
Because they're all standing right there by
Yeah.
you. So everything's a conversation. Yeah.
It was good. It's fun to see a lot of, like 8-year-old girls playing lacrosse and boys too. There was no boys there, but like younger generations being at tournaments and whatever. So it's cool.
And not that
How
no one
about you?
asked. Yeah, not that no one asked, but I was at a wedding, a Minnesota legendary
You were
goalie.
in a wedding.
Yeah, I was in a wedding.
You said you were at a wedding. You
Well,
were
I
in a
also was
wedding.
at it. I was at it. I was in it. I wasn't the one getting married, but my good friend Aaron Wiederhoft, PL4L, PL alum, Lindenwood alum,
Mr. Goalie.
Mr. Goalie, Aaron Wiederhoft. Yeah, absolute time. A lot of lacrosse players, a lot of Lindenwood alum, Coach
A lot of
Stark,
PL, a lot of PL4L people.
a lot of PL4L. Coach Stark made an appearance.
Assistant AD Beth Fuller.
Assistant AD Beth Fuller. Shouting out all these people that probably don't want to be shouted out.
And they don't listen to the podcast.
And they don't listen to the podcast, but it was a pleasure seeing them all and meeting some of Ashley's side and some of her friends as well. That's who is the newest Wiederhoft. So great wedding. A lot of lacrosse people. It was like a lacrosse reunion, a Midwest lacrosse reunion of sorts. So great wedding, and congrats to the Wiederhofts on getting married, and good luck the rest of the way. Good luck. Good luck to your marriage.
Yep.
Is that what you say? Good luck?
No.
Yeah. Best wishes. Have fun.
Cheers. Congrats.
Well, but after you say like, hey, yeah, congrats. And then you say like, then good luck.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. I mean,
I guess.
yeah.
I guess congrats is kind of weird too. Saying like congrats on getting married. Like it's like, I don't know, that's kind of weird too. It's like
break a leg.
Yeah, like congrats on the job. I guess congrats on someone marrying you. I don't know. I don't know what you say. Cheers. Best wishes. Yeah, that's a good one, Ted.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Sympathies.
Best wishes.
Sympathies.
To the male or probably the male, like sympathies. Like,
Yeah,
how can
no,
that
the
be good to
female.
say? What do you mean? What
I'm
does?
kidding. That was a joke.
Oh, I
Deepest
believed
sympathies
it.
to the bride. In this case, deepest sympathies to the bride because she now is stuck with Wiener.
That is true. And for those who don't know, Aaron Wiederhoft, his nickname growing up was Wiener.
Sorry.
So
But she's Mrs. Wiener.
just to clarify for anybody who doesn't know his nickname, lifelong, and his father and his brother, they're all Wiener. So just not to make it weird. We're gonna move on. On to what everybody's here to listen to, lacrosse talk. Ted, we're talking about your game, so we can dive into yours first. Talk about mine next. Talk about Katie's and the girl Lakers after that, and then we'll kind of go into scores. There's some awesome scores. Looks like games were.
It's the year of the upset, and I'm gonna before I get into tonight, I'm gonna go backwards to Friday on the boys' side. There were 4 quarterfinal games for section 4 boys, and there was 1 quarterfinal for section 2. And in my mind and on the blog, I felt like all those games were going to be competitive quarterfinal games. And it was anything but. It was one-sided. The favorites just came to play. And so I was absolutely wrong. Today I was sort of thinking, maybe it's not the year of the upset. Maybe I'm clueless. Maybe I'm an idiot. But we get into Monday night. So that was Friday, and then so this was now Monday night. Some of the games were a little closer. Shakopee and Eden Prairie played a really close game. Armstrong and Maple Grove played a close game. Chanhassen, Minnetonka, the score ended up close-ish, but it wasn't really a close game until the end. I think Minnetonka got a few at the end. But all the favorites continue to move on. And like I said, I'm thinking, oh, maybe year of the upset was just a regular season thing. And then we get to Tuesday.
And what's this section? JP's section.
Section 3.
Section 3.
Fireworks.
So I haven't gone through all the scores, but section 3 saved us and saved our last episode and saved the year of the upset.
It really did. I guess, first shout out Cretan Durham Hall, their win against Woodbury, the 1 seed.
No one picked them. No one picked CDH.
Cretan has just been hanging around this year. They've had some close losses. We love close losses, right? Everybody loves we only gave up this many goals, right? And they just unfortunately I didn't see the game. I wish I would have. But congrats to Coach Horrigan and the boys at Cretan. That's a big win for them. I think I guess Egan beating St. Thomas Academy is not an upset per se based on seeds, but I don't think a lot of people, I don't think Egan was a heavy favorite in the public eye in this game.
I would agree with you. I don't think they were the heavy favorite. I think people would have probably been putting their money on STA.
And
go ahead.
They dominated 18-10. We know Egan can rattle off 18. I'm surprised they scored that many on STA. I felt like STA's defense was one of the stronger ones, but again, tip of the cap to Egan. It's they just decided they didn't want to play in a last second overtime game and save that baby for the future here. But setting up a Cretan Egan Section 3 final, I guess. I don't know. I don't know many people that thought that was going to be the way it was going to unfold in Section 3.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And you and me know when Egan's table, when they're playing blackjack and the dealer starts breaking, watch out. The table's hot and they're doubling their bets every time. And Egan's going to ride that table until the deck is over. Where they are in the deck, if you're not an Egan fan, hopefully you're hoping they're at the end of the deck here, because when they get hot, watch out. Are you getting 2016 vibes? Is this 26 where they start getting hot and they just go on an absolute barn burning run? Or is this or are they late in the deck and it was just a glimpse? Like, and Egan is fired up, and this is not a knock on CDH, but Egan is fired up that CDH got the upset on the other side of the bracket. I don't know. This is setting up. If Egan can keep this table rolling, watch out.
Yeah, no, I mean they're just explosive. They just have a lot of guys. I mean, we've talked about it a lot on this podcast. They've commit to their style of play and they live and die by it. And some days it's not there. But like you said, when it's hot, it's hot. And so interesting things unfolding in Section 3. Section 2 ends up being Chan Shakopee for the final coming tomorrow. I guess as expected, those two teams, the 1 and the 2, neither team really like blowing the doors off their competition, kind of lower scoring, kind of grinder games. So that will be interesting to see if that game ends up being the same or if it opens up.
Sorry, I was pulling up my blog from yesterday, I believe. What game were you just talking about? Section?
Section 2. I was previewing, kind of what's to come, and there were no Section 2 games tonight.
Yeah.
They played last night, and Shakopee and Eden Prairie played a close one. That was 5-5 late, just like the Chaska game for Shakopee, 5-5 late. Tip of the cap to Shakopee. They do make it count. When they need to make a play, they make a play and find ways to win. And, you don't have to win by 10. You have to just win by 1. So that'll be an interesting game with Chanhassen. Chan beat Tonka. They were up, I think, 7 or 8-1 at one point, and then I think Tonka got a few late. So, but yeah, still not super high scoring games in that section.
Going back to my blog here, can I, as we go through this, I want to reference the blog. I did a blog on lax numbers predictions based on kind of their algorithm and where they have people ranked at this time. Like, I don't know if it's on actual prediction, but just based on their rankings at the end of the season, essentially.
According to Gentry, these are the actual rankings.
Okay. So I'm not crazy for kind of referencing or going to this. And again, these weren't my predictions. I was just going to an equation that is legitimate to a group of people who run this. I don't know. It'd be interesting. We should have them on the podcast at some point. It'd be an interesting podcast. But section 3, to kind of go back one section, they were predicting STA, which is funny because Woodbury's the 1 seed. They're 14 on lax numbers. STA was 6. Egan was 12. Cretan was all the way down at 25. So that one was kind of all over the place. And STA and Woodbury don't end up being in the mix. And it's your number 12 and 25 that end up making it. So that section was kind of all over the place. Going to section 2 that we just talked about, Chan and Shakopee were the predictors, based on, they were the high ones. So they're ranked very close, 2 spots away from each other. So this one, according to lax rankings, should be a barn burner of a section final.
Yep. No, I think that's going to be a game to watch. In other sections, section 5, Benilde dominated in their semifinal. They're rolling right now. They look, obviously, they're the team to beat. They look like they're dialed in, kind of firing on all cylinders. Easy win over Wayzata, and they'll play Maple Grove in a rematch of last year in the section 5 final tomorrow. I didn't see either of those games, but it did sound like Maple Grove and Armstrong was pretty back and forth until Maple Grove kind of pulled away at the end. So
and wasn't Maple Grove down kind of biggish?
Yeah, I think it was like 4-1 at the end of 1, and then 5-3 at half or something. So Armstrong did play well in that game and fell a little bit short, but a great season by them. They were definitely I think I don't want to say a surprise, but
they were making noise.
They're making noise this year. Section 7, we had Chisago Lakes beat Anoka and Centennial beat Duluth. So that ends up being the 1 and the 2, and they'll play Thursday night for the section 7 final. So that's a rematch of, how many years in like the 3rd or 4th year in a row, I think, between those two teams. And, that's kind of a classic case of, and we've talked about it on the blog, but like Chisago Lakes, weaker schedule, but dominates. Centennial, maybe better than their record shows, tough schedule. That'll be a very interesting game.
According to lax numbers, they're picking Chisago,
Okay.
but Centennial's right behind them. So should be a close one.
Yeah. Section 8, Moorhead took care of business against St. Cloud tonight in a 13-5 win. So it sounds like that was an easy one for them. However, in the year of the upset, St. Michael Albertville beating Elk River 13-11 to set up a rematch of the Section 8 final, STMA Moorhead, on Thursday night.
So is the curse over for STMA?
They have to win. They have to win.
They got to win.
Got to win. They got to go to state. They are playing their best lacrosse of the season right now. In the last 2 weeks,
when it counts.
When it counts, they figured something out. Moorhead will be a tough out. I think they're still the heavy favorite, but as we'll talk about in a little bit, sometimes championship games can you can kind of throw on paper out the window. It's a different vibe. Section 4 has not been competitive at all. And I thought it was going to be the most competitive section. So this is a complete whiff by us. Stillwater figuring something out on the offensive end. I was following on Twitter yesterday again in their game against Wiper Lake. There was no stream, and it was 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2. It was 4-4 at half. And I like ate dinner or I did something and I checked back and it was 15-5 Stillwater, like 30 minutes later. I like whatever offense they drew up in that span, like they should probably stick with it. And I don't know. I wish I could have saw the game because I mean it was like an onslaught. And I think Stillwater this year we've said they're athletic, they strong defense, but they just haven't figured it out offensively. Well, sounds like they figured it out. And they will move on to play Matamidi, a team that struggled early, had some weird losses early, and then now has been on a tear in the last 2 weeks as well. And that should I don't know. I think it should be a good game, but it's Section 4, so it'll probably be a blowout.
Yeah, good thing for Stillwater that it wasn't streamed because I'd be interested in what they were doing or what they changed or what turned their offense on for them. So good on them for not having film out anywhere, at least that we can easily find. According to Lax numbers, Matamidi is the pick. Again, Stillwater in the mix. So but I think that was a backward seeding as far as what the coaches pick. So I'm kind of wondering what Lax number knows what the coaches don't know. So again, this could be a weird one. They're picking Mott. If Stillwater figures something out offensively, watch out.
Yeah.
What do we know? I'm clueless. So I'm going to Lax numbers. So then I have somebody to blame.
Katie, any thoughts on the boys side? I know you've been quiet. There have been some. I can't wait to get to girls, but I want to make sure you have a chance to jump in here on the boys if you feel inclined.
I mean, I think a lot of them, like you said, it kind of is like what you expect it to be. I was holding out for the Chan Minnetonka. I mean, it's a close game, close enough. But I think I said I was picking Minnetonka to win, and they didn't. So, but yeah, I think it was all pretty typical. Like you said, it kind of was. Maybe we expected more upsets, and it seems like everything kind of is shaken out. Unfortunately, I was actually really not surprised about your score tonight. But I think that was really like kind of must have been an exciting game for you guys that it wasn't like Lakeville North is kind of this like beacon.
The electric factory.
Like it is. And I think that's an awesome, like, I think that's right enough, like a closer score than I would have maybe expected from what I hear about Lakeville North. Not a knock on you guys, but like they're kind of the south of the girls. And it's like to be 9-11, it sounds like it was a really fun game. And even Rosemount Edina, like all of the games tonight, actually, like really close games. Woodbury Cretin, like you said, that kind of makes it stressful, but really competitive too.
If you're a fan of lacrosse, like tonight was a night for you, leading into the matchups, and then certainly they didn't. PMAC, do we want to talk Section 6 semis first or Section 1 final first?
What do you want? Your call.
Let's do Section 6 semis.
Okay.
2 games that I did not get to see. I wish I could have. Rosemount Edina, a rematch of an early season game. Rosemount 10, Edina 13. So Edina moves on. I have no report on this game. Kind of ended where I thought, like it'd be a 2-3 goal win for Edina. I thought that is probably as expected, maybe more goals scored in that game than I thought were going to be scored, but still it looks like a competitive game. Again, it could have been 13-4 with 6 minutes left, and I don't know, but I think Section 6 quarter or semis, I mean, those could essentially be state tournament matchups in a real, if you really broke out like seeding on the state and didn't have sections. I mean, those 4 teams could have been in the final 8, to be honest with you. So that it's unfortunate it works that way, but it does make for great, section play and some stuff during this week. Obviously now Prior Lake Eastview, I was listening to this on the stream as I'm driving to my game. It was 4-4, and then Eastview went on a run, and I think it was 7-4, maybe 8-4 at one point. And then obviously I was at my game, so take it from there, PMAC. But it looks like the Lakers prevailed.
Lakers did prevail. Yeah, to first touch on the game, 7-4, like you said. I think it was 7-4 at half, if I'm not mistaken. I know we let up 7 goals in the first half. Defensively, first half is definitely the second quarter. Not what we were looking for. Made a couple of adjustments, but nothing crazy. We just needed to execute. Just kind of regroup. We took full advantage of that break and just kind of regrouped. So, at that point, you're like, are the boys going to fold or are we going to regroup? It's kind of that 50-50 and obviously they answered the bell and, we had key players and key positions step up and, kind of prevailed. We chipped away. It was back and forth. They actually took a 4-goal lead in the third quarter. And then we went on a huge run. I think we went on like a 7-goal run and then exchanged like a goal apiece there at the end. And yeah, it was a battle at both ways. To Eastview's credit, a few players I want to shout out. You got to start with Sam Arndt. I don't know what awards Down the Alley is going to be doing at the end of the season, but I nominate Sam Arndt as Down the Alley Electric Player of the Year. I don't know if that's an official award yet, but I'm nominating him for that. He's a unique player. He has a unique skill set, and the kid grinded until the last second. So he is committed. He's going to go on to play at the college level, I believe, at Mars Hill. So
yeah, not many guys in high school lacrosse, especially in Minnesota, are darn near automatic from 15 plus, and he is. I mean, he can hit a 17-yarder like off balance to a corner, and so very impressive. I agree with you.
Yeah, you have to guard him at the box line. You have to be on his hands at the box line, otherwise he'll pull it and stick it.
Yeah.
So yeah, you gotta start there with Eastview. He battled until the last second. Their face-off guys, Jackson Gilmore was one of them for sure. They were grinding. And then you got Rossman at the defense. I believe he was a senior. He was. I'm not sure if he's going to play college or not. They didn't have anything on Lax Hub. Do you know?
I don't. I thought he was, but yeah, no, very, very strong player as well.
Yeah. Again, I don't know. Like official awards across the state haven't come out. I would imagine he's going to get some recognition. He's a beast on defense and, caused a lot of problems this game and the previous game. We played him earlier this year. And then I got to end it. I could go down the list, but their goalie tonight, lefty. I'm trying to look for his name.
Jameson Zachary is his name.
Okay, Jameson Zachary. Yeah, he lefty, and he had a couple of like doorstop, cross crease saves and shut the door on us. So he was causing problems. He was getting our offense frustrated along with the rest of his defense in front of him. So again, they had a whole roster. I could go up and down it, but those were a few guys who definitely stood out today. And, if they're going on to play at the next level, good luck to them. I think looks like their goalie's a junior. So
I actually will shout out the goalie. I think I turned the stream on a little bit at the start of the third quarter or something, or maybe even the middle of the third quarter. And he was like stand out from the get-go. Like you guys had to work for those goals that you got. And like you did go on a little bit of run and things seemed to look like they were working on your end. It sounds like that was a shift in the second half. But I mean, a couple of the goals I saw were like beautiful on Prior Lake part, but like shout out to that goalie. And I think he was kind of starting to get really down on himself, just kind of from his body language. And, it's tough. It's a tough position to play. So shout out to him because he was like selling out. And I love that in a goalie.
Yeah, no, like guys were coming, like, I think the biggest compliment to a goalie is the other team's offense coming off the field pissed off about getting stuffed. Like, yeah. I don't know what else I can say. Like, that's what you did to us tonight. So, like, kudos to you. Also, 54. Is that their
Carter Harris? Yeah.
Is that their other goal scorer? Okay, I gotta shout out him.
He's good for like a BTB a game.
dude, no, this kid's nasty. Like, okay, he's a 2025, so he's
Yeah.
what, a sophomore? Okay, so this kid, like, coming into the season, obviously a sophomore, so we didn't have a big scout on him. And we obviously were paying much more attention to him for this game the second time around, and he still was causing problems, for us. Um, this kid's gonna be. I guess I was hoping he was a senior. This kid's gonna be causing problems in the South Suburban and Section 6 for years to come. So, as a Prior Lake coach, this sucks. But if you're at Eastview, if you're a Lightning fan, yeah, you got to be pumped that you got this guy for a couple more years. He's this kid's pretty silky, and
Yep.
yeah, he's got some good mitts on him.
Yeah. No, for sure. So that, yeah, I mean, so it looks like it was a great game. Both Section 6 semis ended up 13-10. I guess is Prior Lake over Eastview the Valley an upset? Are you guys the 3 or are you the 2? I don't even remember.
We were the 3.
Technically an upset. And so we do have an upset there to set up a Prior Lake Edina section final on Thursday, which should be a fun game. And now, before I know we're gonna go to girls, but I believe girls it's Prior Lake Edina girls as well for section 6. We'll talk about that, but
It seems like that's how it's written up every other year. Like every other year, it's us. Us
just
too.
yeah, just to kind of finish out with the one section final tonight. Section 1, my Farmington Tigers against the original Electric Factory, Lakeville North. Like Katie said, 9-11 game. They got one late when we were doubling the ball with our goalie. And so, kind of felt like a 10-9 game. I mean, obviously it is still 11-9, but very close. Honestly, obviously it hurts to lose. You don't want to lose, but a tip of the cap to Lakeville North. They're a solid team. And, I think as coaches, we, like Mitch and I and the coaching staff and Soini and whatever, we were kind of going into this game. The first matchup, they beat us 16-6. They just kind of ran us all over the field, and it was we didn't feel like we played our best, but even if we had played better, we were like, oh, we still probably would have lost the game. So we were kind of thinking about all these gimmicky things that we wanted to do, and like, what do we need to do to slow them down? And we had all these things we were working on, and we kind of presented it to the team because we only had one practice really to implement. And the kind of the leadership group and the group text was like, you can just tear all that up. We're playing them straight up. We can win our matchups. We can win this game. And as a coach, you're kind of like, I don't know. I've been watching the film, but you have to at some point let the fighters fight and let the confidence be there and say, okay, like I trust you to go out and play the game and win your matchups. And we couldn't have had a better start. We were up 4-1, actually 4-0, and then they got one quick at the end on a faceoff. So 4-1 after the first quarter. If you would have told me on Monday you'll be up 4-1 on them at the end of the first quarter, I would have taken it a million times out of a million. I think they thought we were gonna maybe roll over and just kind of let them have it, and it shocked them a little bit. And our guys just battled their butts off, and unfortunately for us, they're a very skilled team, and once they kind of flipped their switch, I think they had a 4-0 third quarter against us. Went on a little run, and they win faceoffs, but tip of the cap to our 8th grader, Will Harris, who battled Quinn tonight. I mean, he didn't necessarily win a lot of them, but like made it interesting at the faceoff. Actually, it wasn't an automatic fast break. And just to kind of close out with, because you were talking about the goalie for Eastview, absolute goalie clinic tonight for both teams. Our guy Hayden Houghton, first quarter, I mean, just stuffing guys. So like giving us an opportunity to get possessions, get a lead, get some momentum. Just had a couple where he's on his butt and like making saves and just popcorn on the outside shots. So like that was huge. And then in the second half, Tyler Alvers, the Lakeville North goalie, we finally tied it 9-9. and we had the ball and we had it on the crease layup, and he made a stick save, like falling backwards. They got the ball back, went and scored. So honestly, both goalies tonight like had to save some point blank legitimate looks, and that was fun to watch. Like both teams made plays all over the field, and Lakeville North, again, hats off to them. They made one more than we did tonight, and it was probably the most fun game I've been a part of that I didn't win. And hopefully, our guys earned some respect tonight and didn't, we didn't get embarrassed, and they battled, and that's all you can ask for as a coach, right? Is your team goes out and gives the absolute best effort they can, despite what, the paper says and what parents are, saying, and what news articles are being written. So I'm really proud of my team, and I think Lakeville North has a good chance of doing some damage at state. They're a hell of a team.
Well, congrats to the Panthers winning this section, and shout out to your Tigers and the squad. You guys are building a program where you're going to have continuous success. You guys are doing it the right way. So
shout out to Coach Kevin Faltasek, D coordinator at Lakeville, Team 36 guy. So fun to coach against our friends and stuff, and I'm happy for him that he's that they're going. So shout out to him.
Yeah, 1 for 1 must be not a big deal. Not a big deal for Coach Kev.
Yeah.
Cool. No, awesome. So exciting times, and a lot more to come by the time this time Thursday when we're talking again. It's going to be a bunch more final chats and more teams punching their tickets. So it's only going to get more interesting on the boys' side as well as the girls' side. So let's shoot it over to Katie here. I know she just got out of you were up in the booth watching the Lakers. I popped in for the second half as well. I think that game was a little more interesting than you would have liked. We don't have to start there though. We can start anywhere on the girls' side, as a lot of scores have been pouring in. I'm in a couple of chats, maybe with a source or two that the source is buzzing about. I don't know all the teams and matchups as well. So Katie, break it down for us. What are we seeing? What are the matchups? Are there upsets happening? What's going on the girls' side right now?
There's a lot of upsets, but I will say I like kind of hide in the booth. And it's funny because tonight was like one of the first nights that it was hotter in the booth than it was outside. And that hasn't happened a lot. I mean, the Chan game, when we played Chan, it was like 35 degrees and pouring rain. And we were like still in our jackets and stuff. And I was just like, we were trying to keep the camera dry and stuff. And I was just like, this is miserable. And tonight I was like, well, this is the first night that I think I'd rather, like, I had to step out a few times for multiple reasons, but one was to like get some airflow at my face. But it's just so funny how that just shifts so quick. But yeah, there have been some upsets, whether they're like a 1 seed different upset. If we go straight into Friday, the Section 4 upset, Matamidi beats Hill Murray 18-11, kind of a lot. And they're technically the 5 over the 4. Stillwater did go on to kind of just, beat Matamidi, which we all kind of expected. But that was a little 5-4 upset there. I think everything on Friday night was pretty typical. And I don't want to do this, but I will. The thing that caught my eye was Gentry playing at TCO. Like, that's kind of fun. Like, that's kind of fun to play a big game on, like, in a fun stadium. And speaking of lax numbers, they're very high on lax numbers because they have them at like 4 or something like that. So, that's their Bible now. But I think everything else was pretty typical. Bummer our Southwest Christian couldn't pull it off against EP. Ted, I think you said playoff EP is a lot different than, regular season EP, and they beat them pretty substantially. And I think everything else was pretty typical on that day. And then same thing with Saturday. You guys were like the only section that played that day. I don't know why you guys got the Saturday games.
Section 1 is weird. And goes Saturday, Tuesday. So
Yeah.
girls had their section final.
Yep. Which is, everybody knew it. Very boring section for the girls because Lakeville South beat everybody a lot to a little. But I will say they only beat Owatonna 18-0. So they listened to the 19 goal kind of rule the coaches have set. So I guess that's good on them. So Saturday was kind of a boring day.
Yeah. As I'm just because it popped up talking about like interesting scores. So this is not an upset. This was last night, I think. Chanhassen Orono girls.
Yeah.
But so I guess when was June 2nd? Was that Friday?
Yes.
Yeah. So Orono beat Chaska.
I know.
24-22.
Like no disrespect, but like what?
Yeah, it's like crazy.
Was there a goal?
Shout out Josie Lakoski with 10 goals and 5 assists in that game for Chaska.
Yeah.
Team 36 bias. So that was like a weird score. You're like, oh my gosh, crazy. Something weird must have happened. There's no way that can happen again. If we go into last night, Essen and Orono play now 22-18 Chan over Orono. So Orono has scored 32 goals in 2 games.
How many? There are 50 draws.
42 goals.
50 there's 100 draws. In those 2 games.
Crazy. And
that must have taken like 2 hours because
how long did that game take?
It's so long.
Yeah, crazy. So section 2, Eden Prairie ended up, after beating Southwest Christian, they ended up beating Minnetonka 18-14. That's a high scoring game too. Closest game. So no upsets there. 1 versus 2 Chan EP for section 2. So kind of, I don't want to say as expected because there was some crazy scores, but section 3.
I could have seen Minnetonka bumping in there too, for sure. Yes, section 3 is kind of where it's at. Back to section 2, though, I kind of loved that Orono was in the mix. They're just not someone we really talked about at all. They were right in there with everybody. Yeah. And I think Minnetonka was a good contender this year. So I definitely wasn't going to give EP the run of it. But I think it'll be a good game with Chan for sure. But anyways, into section 3.
So if you thought section 3 on the boys side was wild,
oh my gosh,
pull up section 3 girls postseason, because tonight the Simley Spartans, I believe,
I think they are,
beat Park. We love Park, so it's unfortunate, but Simley Spartans, the Karowski sisters.
They went off, I heard.
Long time ago, back in March when we talked about it, they beat Park. The 5 beats the 1 to move on to the section final. And we go, surely that's the only upset that's going to happen. Wrong.
Well, Simley had already upset Woodbury.
Yes.
Simley beating Woodbury in the quarterfinal was an upset.
Simley
was the 5 seed beating the 1 seed. When has that ever happened? And I guess Courtney Karowski scored the game winner.
Yeah. So Simley, shout out Simley. I think they had some bumps in the road in the regular season, but as we say, or maybe it's your co-coach at Prior Lake says, regular season doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. You
doesn't
win.
Matter.
Matters. So they move on to the section final. They don't face the 2 seed, Cretin Durham Hall, because Eastridge girls 16-7 over Cretin.
Huge score.
So and I believe I said the Eastridge girls could be a Cinderella story this year.
Did you say that? I don't remember you saying that, but I know because we had to describe to BMAC what a Cinderella story was.
JP, clip it.
So for section 3 girls, you have the 5 seed Simley Spartans, the 3 seed Eastridge Raptors. Absolutely love it.
At Park High School. Is that gonna stay?
Yes, because I believe Woodbury and Eastridge are both getting new turf.
Okay. So it's
And of
not
course,
just
they don't
because
wait
like they
for
got the
lacrosse.
high seed, but because
don't-
they're getting.
Yeah, they don't wait for the lacrosse season. Then they're like, football's starting in a little while. Like, get
Yeah,
on.
for
Don't wait
sure.
and
I
so
think I heard the ADs talking that like the football schedule comes out soon or something like that in June.
yeah. So section 3,
Wild.
wild on both boys and girls. Section 4, you touched on it a little bit, Katie. Stillwater Gentry. Would we say that's how it was supposed to be? I guess Gentry beating White Bear is an upset per seeding,
Yeah, it's
but
technically an
I
upset.
don't know. I don't know. Gentry's pretty solid. And so that should be a good game in section 4.
I think it's kind of what everybody expected. It's,
That
you know,
most of these games were
I
pretty
will say DTA Nation, I ranked Gentry 2.
bad.
So
I
if
didn't
the
even know they were
Stillwater was my 1 and Gentry was my 2, and they didn't get the 2 seed. So I want to say that I'm not clueless in that section.
Yeah.
And I actually called it right.
Yeah.
What actually ended up happening.
Well, no, the final still has to be played for you to be right.
Well, right. Because I guess Stillwater got, yeah, I guess. Because
See,
Stillwater was the 1.
So
then
TBD,
they were my
TBD,
pick. But
TBD
I
on
said
you being right.
1, 2 is Gentry, and Gentry got the 3. And I guess it's like 1 and 3 playing each other. But
Yeah.
if you would ask me, I would have said that would have been what was going to happen.
that should be an interesting one, mainly because Gentry, they're obviously a good team because they're crush teams, but they haven't really played the toughest schedule, whereas Stillwater, is probably a little more battle tested. So that will be an interesting game to watch. And moving to section 5, it's loading here.
It's pretty typical. But hey, if we needed to, I'm not going to lie, I kind of crapped on Wayzata a little bit. And I was like, we ranked them too high, blah, 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 blah. They ended up in a 1-goal game against Maple Grove.
Did Maple Grove and Benilde play this season? Like in the season?
Good question. Let's see.
Did, but that could be wrong. I'm surprised. I don't want to say surprised, because Benilde's super good, but I thought maybe Blake was going to be a little closer in that game.
Me too. I was rooting for Blake. I was bullish on Blake going into the season.
No, they did not play.
So that will be an interesting matchup. Again, I think it comes down, it's another situation like section 4 where you have, maybe like, I mean, I guess Maple Grove schedule is not too bad because a lot of those North Metro teams are good. They don't get as many out of conference games. I'm not sure if that matters, but yeah, heck of a battle by Wayzata, 8-7.
Yeah, so I will shout out Wayzata because I think we kind of were like, oh, we were so high on them, and then they actually battled against Maple Grove.
We talked about it.
Maybe we were too high on Maple Grove. I don't think so, but
I don't.
Maple Grove's undefeated.
They're super good.
Yeah, they're good. It's good. That's gonna be a really fun one. I'm kind of pulling for Maple Grove. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I know that should be a good game. Moving on to section 6, we touched on it. Again, a lot of blowouts setting up Prior Lake girls number 1 versus Edina girls number 2 at Twin Oaks Middle School. Was that called Laker Turf, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, it is called Laker Turf.
Nice stadium there. Interesting 12 p.m. game on Thursday.
We got a little graduation issue.
So if you're looking for a daytime thing to do over lunch, go check out PL girls versus Edina girls, rematch of a game earlier in the season. So should be interesting to see how both teams have.
Yeah, I'm trying to look back when it was not a particularly like.
You guys played like second game of the season.
Yeah, we always do. It's always like early in the season, and it was 8-14. So, it's going to be interesting.
Obviously, I'm on a podcast with 2 Prior Lake people here.
So you're going to take Edina?
Not taking Edina, not at all. I think I could see Edina giving Prior Lake a better game than they gave them early in the season.
Well, Jefferson gave us a good game tonight on our own court. So that's, I mean, shout out to them that they didn't walk in.
Honestly, after that Jefferson PL game, I bet the public is all over the Hornets in this one.
Yeah, the cake eaters might walk again because
I don't know if I would say I'd take Edina if I was really like, had to make a selection here.
I don't think any of the girls listen to this right now in this moment recording. I'm going to take Edina. Like, honestly, that is where I'm at as a human right now, that I have just like thrown the coaching book right clueless on my notebook and a Sharpie, because I mean, I don't really have anything much to do with it. I'm in the stands, but it's like, and you know what I mean? But at this point, the way,
I mean,
we're going to have to go back to the whiteboard, as they say.
Yeah. Nonetheless, that's setting up to be one of the, solid section finals.
Yeah.
Kind of a revisit of 2021 where both Prior Lake and Edina boys and girls played in the Section 6 finals. Section 7, we had an upset, technically. The Centennial upset the number 3 seed Centennial upset number 2 Andover 9-6.
Close game.
Yep, really good game. So setting up Champlin Park Centennial.
Yeah.
For Section 7, I think that should be a good game.
And we completely slept on Champlin Park because we all had like Andover and Centennial, I think, of some sort. PMAC had Anoka.
A couple people had Champlin Park, I'm pretty
sure. Oh, they did?
Nonetheless, I think that will be a good game. I think Champlin Park is the favorite here, but Centennial seems to be playing well. And that game is on Thursday as well. And then Section 8,
we don't have scores.
Yeah, I think they're not posted on the bracket.
Oh, on the bracket, but they're on
HackSub. So let's see. Buffalo and
Elk River Zimmerman, I think, beat Buffalo by 1, if I'm not mistaken.
And I think on the last podcast, we were both saying that could be one of the better semifinal games. Like that was my pick of the week, and you're like, you stole my pick of the week. So we were both on that game. Super tight game. Looks like they'll play STMA. So St. Michael Albertville girls kind of popping out of nowhere. I know they felt like we did not give them enough love on the preseason Section 8 ranking. So should be a fun game.
I'm pretty sure I picked them though. Like they were in my top 4.
I think I had them too, but maybe they felt like they should have been 1. I don't know.
You're right. Well, now here's their chance to prove us wrong.
Yeah. So some interesting, obviously a lot of section finals now are set. Section 1 is over, but kind of, aside from Section 3 in both boys and girls, I feel like it's not too surprising. But there have been some interesting games and some good battles, and that's the nature of the playoffs, right? It's you throw stats out the window and who wants it more, and it makes it exciting as a coach, as a fan, as a player, and I'll be interested to see kind of what shakes out when the seeding comes out for state now, because some of the big dogs have been eliminated. I was thinking about this today, and I don't want to thinking about like a Moorhead or a Centennial / Chisago, Moorhead / STMA, those 7 and 8s that have gotten those low or those like 8 seeds in the playoffs. Well, with things happening, they might not get the 8, this year. Like if they make it, they might have a case for being a 7 and not having to play Benilde. So I know that's been like kind of the storyline the last couple of years of, oh, we make it, but we have to play Benilde first game. Maybe there's been some weird games like now that, and like Moorhead specifically has had some big wins this year where their resume is not like, oh, we didn't play anybody and we won a bad section. You know what I mean? Like that's been like the narrative. I don't think that's the case this year. So again, they still have to win one more game, and STMA loves when we count them out, because when we do, they play electric lacrosse. So I guess they could use that clip right there as bulletin board material. But should be, I mean, there's some really, really good games in the next 2 nights.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back on Thursday to talk about more section final games, matchups, results.
I'm just gonna say I might not be there if it doesn't go the way I want to.
Unfortunately, I will be there. I'm a fan now at this point.
That will be, I mean, I'll do it for the podcast, but like that's gonna be
we'll
really hard to come on and just talk about that.
You're already doubting your Lakers?
No, right now I told you in my state of mind, I'm doubting them. Maybe tomorrow after practice, I'll feel better.
I know everyone was. I went to the girls' game and everyone was like, "Oh, good game, good game." I'm like, I'm going gray because of these kids. I'm going gray. I'm going gray. I'm gonna have a heart attack and I'm gonna have a gray head before I'm not even 30 yet, and I'm going gray. I'm blaming coaching. I'm blaming what is happening on these sidelines of just like, why does it have to be a roller coaster every single game? Why can't we just have, I don't know, get in like what's the floaty pool? Like where you just float around.
Lazy river.
Why can't one of the games just be a lazy river ride?
You got one. It was your first game.
It's not going to happen anytime soon.
First game. We lost our first like 6 games.
No, your Holy Angels game.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay, well, I guess I did have. You know what? Fine. You're right. I had one lazy river game, but does it have to be the power tower every other game?
No.
Why does it be the power tower
that goes straight down?
It's gonna be a roller coaster from here on out, unfortunately, for anyone. But good luck to all the teams that have yet to finish their section in their section.
Shout out to all the teams, whether your season's done, like especially the ones your season's done. Like, we had a really fun time following you guys, and we're rooting for you all.
Yeah, it was a great season, and we still got a little bit more excitement to go.
And I don't know where JP is. Maybe he's taken another sabbatical from the pod, but I will say he's been killing it on the blog. So if you're more of a reader, or somebody who's a reader, send them the pod down the
photos. So if you just want to snap
the
photos, you can just get your own story of the game by looking through his pictures.
And he did tell me this morning he had food poisoning. I forgot that until just now, but I thought he replied and said he would be on the podcast like earlier. That could have been a different day. I don't know what day it is.
Yeah,
I don't know what month it is. So that could have been 2 weeks ago when I thought he texted the group chat saying I'll be on the pod.
This morning.
But he did say this morning, now I'm remembering, he had food poisoning. So, and he was going to be at our game tonight. And I think that would have been an electric game to get coverage of, but got to take care of yourself. So JP, hope you're feeling better.
Have you ever heard of a adult diaper, JP? Throw one of those on, grab your camera, figure it out, get on the pod, get on the sideline. Like,
yeah, you could bring it to a Taylor Swift concert if you want to.
Yeah, exactly. People are wearing Taylor Swift, so like, what's somebody gonna say? Oh, yeah, he's in one right now. Just be like, hey, I have food poisoning. Sorry.
I missed that headline.
What?
Are people doing that?
Oh yeah. You don't want to miss a second of the songs.
They're wearing adult diapers to Taylor Swift concerts so they don't have to miss songs going to the bathroom because they paid $50,000 for a nosebleed seat. I
did not see that. That was not in my corner of social media today.
I'm surprised because aren't you going to the concert?
And so I'm not going to wear a diaper.
You're for sure going to wear a diaper.
No, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'll be dehydrated because it's the PLAY tournament, so I'll just be dehydrated all day because I'll be outside coaching.
Get one at the merch table. Get a t-shirt.
Yeah, yeah. If she's smart, like she is,
new brand,
make her own
50s.
Yeah.
I love how we like try to close out the episode and then we go on 20-minute rants about whatever.
Good night.
And then we wonder why these podcasts end up being 2 hours.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Well, Friday morning.
Tomorrow, you're right, because it comes out Wednesday, so we'll see each other Thursday.
Yeah. Good night.